Hello, welcome back to the Main Event RJ channel. I'm RJ, so let's talk about AEW. Now, I've made a lot of WWE videos, but I love AEW. For as much love as I have for WWE, I love AEW just as much. And I recently did a video talking about who I think should dethrone every champion in WWE. Now, this will be a lot shorter because AEW has a lot of titles, but I'm not covering Ring of Honor titles. Respectfully, I understand that Ring of Honor is a big part of wrestling history. I got into AEW and the indie side of wrestling when that was not the case. So I want to just talk about the AEW titles as they currently stand and say who takes what titles off of them. Because just like WWE, I think AEW is at a point where anybody could really take a title off of somebody if the story, one, makes sense, or two, just for the shock value of it all. So I've got the list. Let's see. Number 1, AEW World Champion Samoa Joe. First of all, if I had it my way, this would be a forever reign. God, they took too long to put this on Samoa Joe, because now the only person I can think of is Swerve Mother effing Strickland. I want that way more because holy F has Swerve been amazing. I love all the work that Swerve has done. His stuff with Hangman, his stuff without Hangman, and just the constant presence of I'm going to get that title no matter what. It just makes the most sense to put it on Swerve, have Swerve hold it for a while, have him lose it to Will Ospreay, who is definitely the next big babyface at All In. It just makes sense. And then you put the belt back on Swerve because he deserves everything, because the dance, the Nana dance, the match performance, everything, it's just perfect. I don't know why I keep putting the phone down. I literally have to pick it back up. The TNT Championship, aka the ugliest belt I think I've ever seen. That's not true. There's a couple other ones, but it's up there. This title is weird. I don't know if they want to put this on old guys for old guy stories or young guys to build up with old guy stories. I don't know. It seems like an in-between, especially when you look at like who won and who didn't. From Darby Allin to Christian Cage. It just makes the most sense for Adam Copeland to take it off of him, I think. And listen, I think it makes the most sense because of the story they've been telling. But I kind of like Daniel Garcia. So like with the WWE, when I was doing like a fantasy booking one and then like a normal like what we have type thing, I think for what we have, Adam Copeland is probably taking the TNT title off of Christian Cage. Don't really like it. I have a meme about it. You can go to my Twitter if you want to talk about it. But a fantasy one, I think you give the belt to Garcia and then get him back on track to the wrestling thing, because he is still doing the dance, and a lot of people still don't like the dance. I love the dance. I think it's funny, but I think it makes more sense because they were doing a story where he's like, oh, I want to be more of a wrestler than anything else, and then he still dances. So I think putting a title on him makes sense. I think he's a future world champion. So I guess TNT title on him, but I guess we got to deal with Adam Copeland. I guess yeah. The International Championship. He just won it in the United Kingdom, Undisputed Kingdom, hasn't done anything. They literally had one of the best. I want to make a full video on this by itself. I love the Demon storyline last. It was so much fun. Everybody was being goofy and we loved it. And then the ending, it was perfect. And then everybody got hurt. And then the group didn't do anything. The group still isn't doing anything. Roderick finally got this title. For me, nobody should take it off of him right now, at least until Adam's healed a little bit. I hate that I love the story so much, and it just isn't doing anything. It's that meme where it's with the stick and just do something, please. So they're finally doing something. Like, first of all, the ROH titles, let's talk about it. Why are the ROH titles on your new super group? Put the two... Sorry, that's a lot. I guess with the most recent return of Kyle O'Reilly, that makes sense. Because I guess if they're doing a storyline where like Kyle's like, oh, you guys have been doing stuff, and instead of joining you instantly, I kind of gave you your shirt back. Maybe we do a thing where like they fight. But then I don't know if I want them beefing necessarily. I'd say up until All In, Roderick Strong should not lose a title. But for me, I guess what we've been given, Kyle O'Reilly makes sense. And then fantasy-wise, MJF. The Continental Championship, the Triple Crown. I love Eddie Kingston with a passion. If this was my list, I would put Eddie... The only person that dethroned Samoa Joe would be Eddie Kingston. I fucking love Eddie Kingston. I think that title on him is perfect. I think the stories they're telling around it, phenomenal. I love Eddie. But if anybody was going to beat him for that belt, and they don't want him at the main event right now, it's Okada. Because Okada came in, slapped Eddie in the face. It was like, I'm coming for this belt now. So I feel like, unlike the Danielson thing where I thought anybody could win it, I wasn't like set on Danielson winning, but I could see it. I see Eddie losing to Okada and then having to come back and beat Okada. Could be a thing. I don't know. It depends on where they go. From what I've seen, though, Okada makes the most sense to take this belt off of him. The only other fantasy booking for this, maybe Malachi Black. It wouldn't make much sense. I could actually see Malachi Black coming and taking the title and then splitting the Triple Crown amongst the House of Black. That could be something interesting. And then they all have singles titles. They could all defend them in singles matches. Since it took Malachi Black, 3 years to get a singles match. It could be something cool like that. Then I feel like you're diminishing the Triple Crown at that point. So I'll just say Malachi Black just because I like Malachi Black and I want him to hold gold right now. So we'll do that. That's the fantasy booking one. He just torments Eddie Kingston, kicks him in the head a few times, takes the belt. But I think Okada's going to beat him first. In reality, Okada's probably taking that belt first. The FTW title. Throw that shit in the trash. Respectfully. I'm sorry. I'm not doing this again. I'm not this. This could be a hot take. This could be a hot take. I don't like the FTW title. I think it has history. I think it makes sense that they brought it back once. Why is it still here? And why is Hook still holding it? Let Hook go for an international title. Let him go for the TNT title. This FTW title is holding him back way more than any bad booking decisions they've made over the past few years, and I stand by that. The AEW tag titles that's held by Vacant. I don't know who's all in the tournament. I feel like the Young Bucks are going to win. Could be FTR. I've heard some things about FTR, the Blackpool Combat Club, being the final two. FTR finally getting their win back. Could be that. I'll say Young Bucks, but they're kind of in a thing with Eddie right now. Yeah, I'm going to say FTR makes the most sense for what we've seen, and then Eddie Kingston, and then the Young Bucks are the fantasy one. Because I could see the Young Bucks hey, Okada, we love you, brother, but we got to go do these tag titles real quick. But I could also see them delaying the Young Bucks going for the tag titles right now, so they get the FTR versus Young Bucks. What is it, 5? It could be that. That could always be the outcome. The AEW Trios titles. I forget that these belts exist. And I blame Tony Khan for it because they put these belts in the Acclaimed and then let Max Caster have access to Twitter. That's crazy. Who takes these titles? I don't know. I just want Jay White to stop being in the supergroup, please. Let him be a villain in the AEW titles picture right now. I don't even know enough trios. Honestly, maybe Death Triangle comes back and then you get Death Triangle versus the Acclaimed. I don't even want to put that in fantasy. I just want to put that in reality because I think there was a recent announcement that Rey Fenix is starting to be healed and he's getting cleared to wrestle again. So I think you just bring back Death Triangle and have them take the belts. And then maybe do Heel Elite versus Death Triangle. I like that. That sounds way better than anything that's been going on because they won these at All In and I was so excited for them. Then they revealed the pink belts. I'm like, that's cool, little weird. And then they just didn't do anything. Then they made the worst supergroup I've ever seen. The Women's World Title. Mercedes Moné. That's the only person I think that they have. Well, to be fair, she hasn't even been announced yet. Or actually, by the time this comes out, if she is here, she's there. I think you just put it on. I like the Deonna Purrazzo story stuff. I just don't think nobody wants to see Toni Storm lose right now, and Deonna Purrazzo isn't big enough to overshadow not wanting to see Toni Storm lose. Mercedes Moné is. That's literally so. Mercedes Moné makes the most logical sense if she's here. If you're watching this next week and big business happens and she's not there, then Deonna Purrazzo, because that's my number 2. I like Deonna. I really like her matches. She's a lot of fun. The TBS title. I don't know. That's the last one, right? That's the last one. Cool. So I'm gonna close this. I like Chris Statlander. I want Chris Statlander to go for the women's title. The world women's title, but I also like the story she's having around the TBS title, but I also like the idea of Willow holding the TBS title. So I'm going to say, with what we've seen, Willow, I want her to be the next one, and then after that, I think you get Chris and a heel turn. I hate to say it because I love Chris. Chris is Chris is amazing. Protect her with everything. But I think you give her a good heel run with the TBS title, and that pushes her to the women's title, the world women's world title. How do you say these words in order? I think that's how you do it. I could be wrong. I think Willow has a match against Rio, who Chris recently lost to. If Willow wins that, it's two options. Either Willow wins the TBS title, then heel turn Chris versus Willow, or Chris turns on Willow during the match, heel Chris versus Willow, no title, and then like, because you can't go heel because everybody bitches when you do heel. So I think you do the winning and then the turn, then Chris Willow. I think I like that one way better. Not way better, because Chris Taylor doesn't. Man, she should be world champion by now. She was doing squats with Renee Paquette during their interview. That shit was fine. She had a lizard at one point. This is stupid. All right. I'm done yapping. That's how I think all the AE titles. All right, I'm done yapping. This is how all the AEW titles I think are going to turn out. How about in the comments, we have a very nice discussion about who you think are going to take these titles and not be weird. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, I'm going to be doing one more AEW video. I don't know what it's going to be yet. I'm going to think about it. And yeah, I will see ya when I freaking see ya.